At the end of 2023, I was sick and tired of not feeling like myself. I bounced back and forth from doctor to doctor looking for answers, and I just kept hearing the same things. You look fine, your labs are normal, just take the pill, it's probably just stress. And at the time, I felt deeply dismissed, frustrated, confused, lost. However, looking back now, I can understand why this was happening. And the truth is, traditional medicine is designed to diagnose and treat disease. At the time, I wasn't sick. I was a health conscious, high functioning woman with a dysregulated metabolism, hormones, gut, and nervous system. My body was just stuck in survival mode, and that's why I was experiencing all the symptoms that I was. And I find this to be one of the most confusing places for a woman to be, where you're not sick enough to be diagnosed or for your traditional doctor to catch anything on your lab work. But you're also definitely not well. You don't feel normal. You're not at peak optimal health. You're not functioning the way that you used to be able to. And so today I want to talk about what's being missed by your doctor, not because your doctor doesn't care or because doctors don't know what they're talking about or because they're bad, but because the system of healthcare has never been designed to really look at health through the lens of a high performing woman who on the outside you seem healthy, but on the inside, there's actually a lot of dysfunction or dysregulation going on that hasn't quite made it to the point of disease yet. And so there's this massive gray area between disease and optimal health. And this subclinical gray area is where most women are stuck, being dismissed, and frankly, being mistreated with band-aid solutions that are causing other side effects or making things worse. So you're not diabetic, but also, your blood sugar is unstable, leading to energy crashes and high cravings. You're not hypothyroid, but your thyroid output is suboptimal, which is making it extremely difficult for you to lose weight despite doing everything right. It's making you feel puffy and inflamed, have low motivation, slow digestion. You don't have IBS, but your digestion is far from normal. You're bloated after meals that should be healthy. You feel uncomfortable in your stomach on most days. You rely on caffeine or supplements to stay regular. You're not clinically depressed, but your nervous system is fried. You feel anxious and exhausted all the time, struggle to relax, even on rest days. You have racing thoughts at night, wake up tired, emotionally flat. These are the women that I'm speaking to. These are the warning signs and where most doctors aren't trained to intervene for you. Because we don't live in a healthcare system, we live in a sick care system. And that's not an insult. That's just the difference. There is a different goal here. The goal of conventional medicine is to identify disease, save lives in an emergency, manage your symptoms, and prevent things from getting worse. So what's really missing here is getting to the root cause of why your symptoms and imbalances are happening in the first place. And through the functional health lens, we start to look deeper at these root causes, at your lifestyle, your health history, and begin to connect the dots between all these different systems and symptoms that you're experiencing to help you restore function before disease ever develops. So when your doctor tells you your labs are normal, what they're really just saying is you don't meet the criteria for a diagnosis or for me to write you a prescription. They are not saying that your hormones are actually balanced for optimal health. And I want to emphasize that because that's pretty much the most important point of today's episode. So moral of the story here is hormone imbalances and dysfunction within the systems of your body. They don't start as diseases. They start as adaptations that your body goes through when it's stuck in survival mode. When it's experiencing stress, whether that's from chronic dieting, over-exercising, mental or emotional things that you've experienced or gone through. Your body doesn't suddenly become hypothyroid or insulin resistant or take away your period overnight. It slowly compensates, sometimes for years, before anything really crosses that clinical threshold where a doctor will step in. And so what's really being missed in the Western traditional medicine is, number one, the ranges that your lab values are being compared to are way too wide. One of the biggest gaps is the reference range. Most normal reference ranges that you see on lab work is based off of population averages. So as the population continues to get sicker and sicker, more stressed, more underfueled, more inflamed, more overweight, more burnout, the reference ranges are getting wider and wider because they're based off of the average population, not true health data or research. So that new normal reference range becomes based off of values and a population that is suboptimal. So being in range from the Western medicine lens doesn't mean ideal. It doesn't mean true health. It means that you aren't necessarily high enough or low enough to be diagnosed with the disease. And so I would encourage you, if your lab values are close to these end ranges, that there's likely some work to do to optimize your markers. So that is big difference number one. Big difference number two is that early warning signs of dysfunction are being ignored. So most doctors don't even order a comprehensive lab test of all the values that you need to look at to see the full picture of what's actually going on. So for example, blood sugar dysregulation. Usually the only thing that's tested through Western medicine is your fasting glucose. However, a lab value like fasting insulin is going to give you a much clearer picture as to how your body is responding to blood sugar or regulating your blood sugar. Your fasting insulin is going to fall out of balance or out of range far earlier or far before your glucose does. Therefore, you're able to intervene much earlier and much easier at a time where it's much easier before things get even worse. Another example of this is with your thyroid. This is probably the most common one that I see with my clients, is that your doctor is only testing your TSH and maybe we're getting a free T4, but you have no idea around free T3, which is your most active thyroid hormone and what's required to function your metabolism, or even reverse T3, which is what your body starts converting your T4 to when it's under stress or when it's stuck in survival mode. And this is going to tell you a lot more about your metabolic capacity directly instead of just looking at TSH or T4. So there are a lot of lab values that are just missed on a comprehensive test that's not truly comprehensive, that we can dig deeper and actually truly assess how is your blood sugar being managed? How is your thyroid output? Where's your metabolic capacity lie right now? Number three is your body is being looked at in isolation. So conventional medicine is very siloed. You've probably experienced this where you go to the doctor and they just refer you to another one. They refer you to another one. They refer you to another one, where you're looking at your hormones through this doctor and your gut health through this doctor and your mental health through this doctor, and your metabolism is treated just as energy in versus energy out, not as the thing that controls all of these different systems inside of your body. The body doesn't work in isolation. Your gut affects your hormones, and your stress affects your metabolism, and your sleep impacts your blood sugar, and your nervous system controls it all. So when we're looking at things in isolation, we're not connecting the dots and therefore not able to get to the real root cause of what's going on. When you are rebalancing hormones or treating things through a functional lens, there is a step-by-step process and order in which you want to do that, because you want to first optimize the root cause that is then you can move on to step two, which is optimizing the next thing that's fallen out of balance. And then the next thing is to optimize step three, which is fallen out of balance. What I see so often, and this is a mistake that I made in my own healing journey, was you're trying to balance your hormones without recognizing that there are other things that are causing your hormones to be out of balance in the first place, like imbalances in your gut, like liver dysfunction, like a poor thyroid output. You're not going to be able to regulate your period or balance your blood sugar, for example, if your nervous system is dysregulated, if there is imbalances inside of your gut, if you're experiencing leaky gut, and that's causing an inflammatory response within your body. So you need to start with what the real root cause is and make sure that you're optimizing that first before just, creating band-aids for the other things that are going on. So truly, I believe that when your systems are treated separately, you miss the root cause and you get stuck on this hamster wheel of trial and error. Many high-performing women feel this disconnect the most. You're just told to manage your stress or get healthier without having a real strategy around, this is phase one, this is what we're supporting first, then we're going to move on to phase two, then we're going to move on to phase three, which is all designed strategically to get your body back into balance in the most efficient and optimal way. And then last but not least, what I truly believe is the biggest missing piece here, number 4, is that lifestyle is the most underrated medicine. I believe that the conversation really needs to start to shift to your sleeping habits, your training intensity, your fueling patterns, your stress exposure, your recovery capacity. These are the signals that your body uses to decide whether it's safe enough to heal, to adapt, to change, to communicate optimally between systems. And most women don't realize that. Frankly, this is just not a conversation that's had inside of the doctor's office. The same behaviors, often for a lot of high achieving women, that help you succeed in the first place, whether that's helped you get lean or have helped you get to a certain level of success inside of your career, the pushing, the grinding, the ignoring the signals of exhaustion or survival mode inside of your body, can be the exact behaviors that are keeping your health stuck right now. And so lifestyle is the most important driving factor here for a lot of the dysfunction inside of your body, and therefore is going to be the most helpful and useful medicine to reverse the symptoms and dysfunction that you're experiencing, to get your body back into balance. And again, it only happens when it's applied with intention and precision, not some generic cookie cutter advice that you're seeing by the wellness guru on TikTok. You need to identify what the root cause is for you in your lifestyle and in your body so that you can make the most strategic, efficient, and accurate improvements from there. Most high achieving women really do fall through the cracks here. You are vulnerable to being dismissed by Western medicine because on the outside you look put together, you look like you're functioning well, you don't appear sick, you're already health conscious, but your symptoms are being minimized. Functioning and surviving is not the same as thriving, right? Being able to push through doesn't mean that your body isn't paying a price for that. And you are who I am here to help. You are who I'm here to support and help find answers and solutions for. Because if you don't find answers, something is going to break. Something is going to break. And my entire philosophy is around not waiting until that moment. So if you've ever felt dismissed, confused, or stuck, been told that you're normal, but you know that things definitely aren't well, this is your reminder that you are not crazy. You just need to start looking at your health and your body through a different lens. Health isn't about sitting around waiting for a diagnosis to happen. It's about understanding your body enough to change the trajectory of your symptoms and get your body functioning in the way that it was always meant to. Stop chasing symptoms, start looking at the patterns, connecting the dots, and then everything will start to shift. I hope that this episode was helpful for you guys. If you want to explore this route even more, you know where to find me. You can apply to work with me in the show notes below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to y'all in the next episode.